Hi there folks, this is Tony for the A Minute to Midnight Show, currently coming to you from central Pennsylvania. It's been an interesting week, a lot of interesting developments in particularly the world of the technology advancements and the funding thereof. So I've got a few things I want to cover in this video, and then at the end my wife Holly has got a short message that she would like to share to encourage people in their walk with the Lord as well. So I'll begin by reading part of an article by Michael Snyder from the Economic Collapse blog, and it's titled "Implantable Brain-Computer Interfaces Are Here and They Are a Giant Step Towards the Dystopian Digital Prison Society the Elite Have Planned for Us." Apple has partnered with a shadowy tech company known as Synchron to develop a brain implant that allows users to operate digital devices by thinking. Imagine controlling an iPhone or MacBook with nothing but thoughts. It may sound far-fetched, but Apple's latest partnership suggests it could be closer than we think. The tech giant has teamed up with neurotechnology firm Synchron to develop a brain implant that allows users to operate digital devices by thinking, no typing, tapping or swiping required. According to the Wall Street Journal, Apple is partnering with Synchron, a privately held New York-based company backed by, here we go, some of the usual suspects, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, on the project. The brain-computer interface, or BCI, industry is projected to grow significantly over the coming decades, and perhaps the best-known player in the space is Elon Musk's Neuralink, which as of January has successfully implanted its devices in 3 people. Unlike Neuralink's brain-computer interface, though, Synchron's device is not actually implanted inside the brain. Instead, it is actually located on top of the brain. The Synchron device, which is a stent-like device called Stentrode, is implanted on top of the brain, not inside it, which allows users to avoid an invasive open brain implant procedure. Once placed, the Stentrode works by using its electrodes to read brain signals and translate them into on-screen navigation and icon selection. At the core of this breakthrough technology, known as brain-computer interface, this system allows a person to control a device using their brain activity without the need for muscle movements. And Synchron's device, the Stentrode, the goal of which is to create, I guess Michael's saying here, a dystopian digital prison society in which as many people as possible are connected to the internet as long as possible. Even if you choose not to participate, you'll not be able to escape it, because Michael says we're being told that soon millions of people will be wearing AI glasses that will be constantly gathering information on everyone and everything they are pointed at. The real revolution and the real threat lies in what comes next. Meta's AI glasses, sunglasses, spectacles, whatever you want to call them, they look like something out of a sci-fi flick, but they're real and they're here. Very soon millions or perhaps tens of millions of people will be walking around with them on, and you might not even know it. They aren't just toys, these are tools and weapons. They comprise a camera, a microphone, an AI interface and internet access, all embedded discreetly in eyewear. They're capable of recognizing faces, interpreting language, overlaying information in real time and collecting vast swaths of data as the owners simply walk down the street. They can whisper comprehensive summaries about the stranger across the subway, translate foreign speech in real time, suggest pick-up lines, record interactions without consent, and overlay reviews of a restaurant before you've even looked at the menu. All this is done without lifting a phone or typing a word. These glasses are not just watching the world, they're interpreting, filtering, and rewriting it with the full force of Meta's algorithms behind the lens. And if you think you're safe because you're not wearing a pair, think again, because the people who wear them will inevitably point them in your direction. Can you imagine our society, what it will be like once we get to that stage? Cameras and microphones that are connected to the internet will constantly be pointing at everyone and everything all the time. Privacy will essentially be a thing of the past. And of course, that is exactly what the elite want. So your phone, it has the ability to track you everywhere you go as well. All the information that our phones collect is processed by extremely sophisticated algorithms, and those algorithms are very good at showing us eerily accurate ads. I'm sure you've all seen that. You have your phone on or even your computer or whatever, and then next thing, bang, an ad pops up advertising something you've just been thinking about or something you've just been researching or whatever. So imagine this, you're casually chatting with a friend about planning a trip to the Maldives. This is Michael Snyder again, by the way. A few hours later, you open your smartphone and guess what? You're bombarded with ads for tropical getaways, swimsuit sales, and the best hotels in the Maldives suggestions. Coincidence? Or is your phone secretly tuned into your every thought? Welcome to the era of advanced AI technologies that sometimes make it feel like our smartphones are practically reading our minds. And of course, what we are experiencing now is only just the beginning. As AI technology continues to grow at an exponential rate, we're rapidly getting to the point where your phone will know you better than even your closest friends might. Artificial intelligence is the backbone of modern smartphones. We may think AI is limited to voice assistants like Siri and Google, but it's everywhere. From predictive text to facial recognition to those eerily accurate recommendations you get while shopping online, AI works by gathering vast amounts of data and analysing patterns to predict behaviours. So no, your phone isn't literally reading your mind, but it's collecting and analysing a lot of information about you and of course about your habits and everything. When you use your phone, you're leaving behind a trail of digital breadcrumbs. What you click, how long you scroll, your search history, and even how fast you type. AI crunches these numbers to understand you better. Essentially, your phone is getting to know you, your habits, your preferences, your patterns, better than even your closest friends might. So, imagine what could a tyrannical government do with this sort of technology, and what are they already doing with it? And we know they're building massive data centers all over the place to house all this information too. Huge data centers. So, I mean, if these government authorities and corporations, of course, too, have access to every detail of your life, there will be, or there would be, if this happens, and it's pretty much happening, nowhere to hide. So technology is advancing so quickly in the field of AI and robotics and ultimately transhumanism. The advances are staggering, really. And so I've got a few more examples here, just some brief other ones. Okay, here is an article, just a little bit of the article. Scientists have built a device that sees and thinks like a brain, opening doors to lightning-fast robotics and safer autonomous vehicles. This is from SciTech Daily. Engineers at RMIT University have created a tiny brain-like device that can detect hand movements, store visual memories and process information, all without relying on an external computer. This innovation, known as a neuromorphic device, mimics the way the human brain works. According to Professor Sumit Walia, the project's lead researcher, it could pave the way for ultra-fast visual processing in self-driving cars, intelligent robots, and other smart technologies designed to interact more naturally with people. There's a lot more in that article, but I'll can it there. Another article. Dutch scientists built a brainless soft robot that runs on air. It runs like a stodding gazelle and swims like a dog. A team of Dutch research scientists at FOM Institute for Molecular and Atomic Physics in Amsterdam have built a new kind of robot that can run, go over obstacles and even swim, all driven only by the flow of air, and it does all that with no brain at all. So there, I won't read more on that, but again, this is just so many advances, so fast, and I don't find it difficult to see how all this technology could play into the hands of the beast of the book of Revelation. No wonder too that Jesus said unless these days are shortened, no flesh would be saved. But of course, to accomplish all this, the world needs mega rich tech giants to fund the creation of this technology. So enter the tech billionaires who've aligned themselves with Donald Trump and other world leaders. So we've just seen Trump make a visit to the Middle East. He spent this week in the Middle East visiting several Islamic countries to make deals, and interestingly, he did not visit Israel. He appeared to give plenty of honour to Islam in the process too. This trip ultimately highlights how we stand on the brink of the golden age for both America and the Middle East, united by a shared vision of stability, opportunity and mutual respect, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said. So it shouldn't escape our notice her use there again of the occult term golden age, as Trump has done many times. And whilst in the Middle East, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi de facto ruler, greeted Trump very warmly as he stepped off Air Force One at King Khalid International Airport in the Saudi capital. And Trump said, "I really believe we like each other a lot." And later, during an appearance with the Crown Prince, during a speech that was later in that same day, I believe, the president described Prince Mohammed bin Salman as an incredible man and my friend. And interestingly, as I mentioned about the tech giants and the finance and all of that to build all this beast system, the guest list at an elaborate luncheon was stuffed with corporate executives, including Ruth Porat of Google, Stephen Schwarzman of the Blackstone Group, who I've covered before, Skull and Bones member and a good friend of Donald Trump, Jane Fraser of Citicorp, Alex Karp of Palantir, Jensen Huang of Nvidia, and also Elon Musk. And bin Salman rubbed elbows with all these high-profile business executives, including, Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwarzman, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, and Elon Musk, and in front of the cameras, photographs with all of those people, Donald Trump, Mohammed bin Salman, and these, tech billionaires. So is Trump concerned about the human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia and other Muslim countries in the Middle East? Doesn't really seem so. As long as he can make financial deals for the US and expand the tech industry, it seems all is okay. President Trump did call on Saudi Arabia to recognise Israel during a speech to the oil-rich kingdom leaders on Tuesday, though, saying, "You'll be greatly honouring me by doing so. With the historic Abraham Accords we're so proud of, all the momentum was aimed at peace, aimed at very successfully," Trump said. "It's been an amazing thing, the Abraham Accords, and it's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but will soon be joining the Abraham Accords." So that's Donald Trump saying that. "I think it'll be a tremendous tribute to your country, and it will be something that's really going to be very important for the future of the Middle East. I took a risk in doing them, and they've been an absolute bonanza for the countries that have joined," said Trump. So some of that I gleaned from an article at the New York Post. But before the trip, Trump announced that Washington was halting a nearly 2-month airstrike campaign against Yemen's Houthis, the Iran-backed rebel group. Trump had pledged to stop attacking ships and so on, but they never notified Israel, who the Houthis continue to target, of the agreement before Trump publicly announced it. So it was the latest example of Trump leaving the Israelis in the dark about the US administration's negotiations with adversaries like the Houthis in Iran and so on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this whole direction. Yeah, but with the Abraham Accords, Trump sort of basically said that he believes Saudi Arabia will join them, in their own time. Trump also went to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, and he shed his shoes to take in the splendour of the largest mosque in the UAE, a rare visit by US presidents, and he went into a Muslim house of worship and said, "It's so beautiful," as he walked through clad in his stockinged feet as a mark of respect. And he said, "This is an incredible culture," I guess meaning Islam and the mosque. So it's kind of, I suppose, diplomatic, and you have to do that sort of stuff if you're a diplomat or a president or a prime minister or whatever. But I mean, it is a little concerning that suddenly all of these Arab countries that in the past have sponsored terrorism and all that sort of thing are suddenly best friends, and lots of money has been poured into them. Because Saudi Arabia has already pledged $600 billion in US investment spanning weapons purchases, technology transfers, artificial intelligence, and the stock market. And Trump has said that he believes the Saudis will ultimately commit up to $1 trillion. And the United Arab Emirates, seeking to boost its ties with the US and become a global AI leader by 2030 as well, needs American microchips. So the UAE's gone even further than the Saudis by promising $1.4 trillion in US investments over the next decade, focused on AI, semiconductors, manufacturing and energy. And Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, Sam Altman from OpenAI, BlackRock, Larry Fink, they were seen greeting and speaking with the Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman and President Donald Trump on Tuesday, when Trump, first kicked off his foreign visit. And, I mentioned earlier that other notable business figures that attended the event were Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, IBM's Arvind Krishna, Citicorp's Jane Fraser, Boeing's Kelly Ortega, Nvidia's Jensen Huang, and Palantir's Alex Karp. And Trump on Tuesday headlined the US-Saudi investment forum alongside Saudi ministers, and several of those at that luncheon, I've just mentioned, were listed as speakers for that event, and that included Stephen Schwarzman from Blackstone. The Saudi-US Investment Forum was held on the occasion of the state visit to Saudi Arabia of Donald Trump. The forum took place in King Abdullah's International Conference Centre in Riyadh on May the 13th, bringing together the major Saudi and American investors. But I now want to just read some interesting parts from an article by Leo Hohmann, who, as you know, is often a guest on the A Minute to Midnight show. So there is some pretty interesting stuff. I won't read the whole article, but Leo makes some really good points. He says, President Donald Trump has agreed to a $600 billion investment deal with Saudi Arabia. That includes $20 billion in Saudi investment in AI data centers in the United States and billions more in arms shipments to Saudi Arabia. President Trump is the deal maker in chief, and he's once again secured a historic deal that strengthens America's economic dominance and global influence, the White House said in a public statement, adding that the investment will build economic ties that will endure for generations to come. The investment will initially focus on deals that strengthen the energy sector, the military-industrial complex, technology and artificial intelligence, and access to global infrastructure and critical minerals. After his meeting with Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of the Saudi Kingdom, The White House also announced it has agreed to drop economic sanctions against the new Turkish-backed Sunni Islamic Caliphate in Syria, a jihadi regime that has slaughtered thousands of Christians and Alawite religious minorities since shooting its way into power a few months ago, and this is all being celebrated by the White House. The deals celebrated today are historic and transformative for both countries and present a new golden era of partnership between the United States and Saudi Arabia, the White House said. From day one, President Trump's America First trade and investment policy has put the American economy, the American worker, and our national security first. The Trump administration also announced that the two countries signed the largest military arms agreement in history, totaling $142 billion, providing Saudi Arabia with their Air Force advancement and space capabilities, air and missile defense, maritime and coastal security, border security, and land forces modernization and information and communication systems. Included in the deal is the Saudi company DataVault investing $20 billion in AI data centers and energy infrastructure in the US. Another Saudi firm, Shamak 4 Solutions, will invest $5.8 billion, including in a Michigan high-capacity IV fluid facility. A slew of US-based transnational corporations, including Google, Oracle, Salesforce, and Uber, have committed to invest $80 billion in cutting-edge transformative technologies in both the US and Saudi Arabia. Whenever companies talk like this about cutting-edge transformative technologies, you can count on the fact that it will mean more control over our lives. When you look at the list of corporate titans, Trump is enriching and empowering literally some of the most evil and oppressive forces in the world today, along with the Islamic terror center of Saudi Arabia. This is Leo Hohmann, of course, speaking. I'm reading here. AI, robots, and augmented humans will replace us all in a global technocracy, but you need smart people to write the codes for the emerging digital slave state. Most of the programmers will likely be foreign. The vast majority of American workers, both white and blue-collar types, will be worse off. That's why Trump's tech partners, men like Elon Musk and Sam Altman, often talk about universal basic income as a wave of the future. Love him or loathe him, this is becoming abundantly clear. Donald J. Trump is doing more to usher in the global digital reset, Leo says, I call it the beast system, than all previous presidents combined. And here's the part all American Christians will have to grapple with if they aren't already, that it's our guy, America's conservative king, who is right in the thick of the entire process to usher in the end times beast system. All you have to do is connect the dots. Trump, on his first full day in office on January 21st, launched Project Stargate with the heads of Oracle Technologies, OpenAI, a Japanese banker, all who are blanketing America with massive data collection centers needed for AI. And since he's become the first president to fully enforce Real ID Act of 2005, he's hugely enamored with crypto and blockchain, even appointing a crypto and AI czar in David Sachs. And now he's announced a Saudi deal to use Muslim cash to help underwrite the whole thing. The only question is, says Leo, when will this beast system be fully weaponized? Will that happen under Trump, or is he just the set-up man tasked with the building out the infrastructure for some future world leader who will weaponize it all against we, the people? So that's kind of it for this news stuff for this video. Folks, things like I said earlier, they're advancing really quickly, and this is just a small sample of it all. I've covered a lot of it in other videos too. So we really need to get our eyes on the Lord and realize we can't put our trust in man, especially not politicians. I don't care who they are, what party they're in, what country they're in. We are heading, I believe, towards the biblical end times scenario that we find in books like Revelation chapter 13 and so on. And so really our eyes have to be on God and not allowing ourselves to be distracted by these other things, but to be aware of what's going on. So having said all of that, I will hand over to my wife Holly, who has a bit of an encouraging message to share.
Thank you, Tony, for sharing all that. That was awesome. I did have a message for everybody today. I was praying, and what I really wanted to share with everybody is I feel like the Lord is saying that like it is so critical. I'm not trying to state the obvious here, but maybe some of you guys already know this, but it's so urgent for all of us to be spending time with the Lord, private, quiet time, and really focusing on our relationship with God, because He's our covering. And I know the enemy is really trying to attack us right now, and we cannot live on our past Bible times with the Lord. You have to renew that time with the Lord, invest in that relationship. I always think about, my faith kind of like a fireplace, and you just got to put logs on it all the time to keep it burning, keep that relationship with God as a priority, keep it first. It would be really ideal to spend that time with the Lord early in the morning hours and really just sit in His presence and receive from Him, be with Him. And, it's interesting because there is a scripture, Philippians 4:7. It says from King James Version, "And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." When I was reading this scripture, it was really amazing because by us spending time with Christ, with the Lord, He's going to be able to give us the wisdom and the discernment that we need to have the protection, the supernatural provision, and things that we need to keep going. And here's what I wanted to share with everybody is there was a time when I was younger and I didn't know the Lord. But I know that the Lord was still protecting me, even if I didn't have a solid relationship with Him. But that's something I'll obviously it's always something we work and grow closer to the Lord. But back then I got very discouraged, and I just decided I didn't really want to believe in God. And I was like, "You're not real." And a guy jumped out of a tree and tried to take my life. And it just really occurred to me how important your shield of faith is. Like I said, I know a lot of people probably already know that, but what I'm trying to say is always spend time every day and protect your faith, because the enemy is going to try to destroy people through discouragement or try to put lies in your head. And you have to make sure that you are trusting in the Lord and building your life on truth. And if you are not spending that time with the Lord, we can become susceptible to some of this stuff when we start to stray away from the Lord. I just really think it's important that we are doing that. And anyway, that's just what I wanted to share with you guys, because no matter what happens, I know right now a lot of us are going through a lot of trials. There's a lot of people that have, tried to come after our faith. Like the enemy will send people to try to, people will say things about us that aren't true, or, the enemy tries to do character assassination, or just the enemy tries to send discouragement. But we have to encourage ourselves in the Lord, be like David, and, keep ourselves keep our eyes on Jesus. So it's just what I wanted to share with everybody today. So thanks for listening.
Thanks, Holly. That was a great little message. And actually, just as you were sharing that message, I was looking out the window, and the old Wild West scenes where something's dying and you see vultures and buzzards and things circling around, waiting for something to die. There was just a whole lot of what I presume were turkey vultures circling. I could watch them out the window. That same scenario, and I just was thinking, we have to have our faith strong. We have to be alive and vibrant in the Lord, because otherwise the vultures, demons, circling around will look to pick people off. So as Holly mentioned, having a relationship with the Lord is really important, so that we're not picked off by those demonic vultures. So I just wanted to share that. So yeah, basically that's the end of this message today. Don't forget to subscribe to us at aminutemidnight.com. Please like and share our videos. It's always much appreciated. And we do run A Minute to Midnight 100% by donations. If you're able to help us, it's always appreciated. And you can do that at our website, aminutetomidnight.com. God bless, God willing, we'll be back again in a few days' time.